revoke and make null and void all contracts, rituals, programs, frequencies, harmonics within the human heart, and agreements with all malevolent forces, abusive influencers, narcissistic psychopaths, savage hearts, violent entities, and violent, abusive human embodiments in other ethereal, energetic life, in all forms of existence, in this plane, in this reality, in all planes, in all forms of realities, in all dimensions and multiple timelines, past, present, and future, where they believe in enforcing their projected realities, their savagery, their programming, their agendas, their destruction from all of their dominions and their lords, their greeds, their movements, their kingdoms, their dominions and beliefs, where they and those enforce and mesmerize project their illusions as their projected realities into all life, all humanity, all animal, all plant, all life on all versions of earth, all life in the sea, all life in the air, all life in the aether, all terrestrial and extraterrestrial realms, all living, transient, elemental, their tyranny and destruction. I collapse and fold and dissolve into oblivion their catastrophic contracts, rituals, plans, and programs in all systems, and install and replace and invoke within them, within all, peace, love, balance, conscious awareness, heart centeredness, care, nurture, harmony, and remembrance of the universal law, with the consciousness for the universal mind, which is Great Spirit within the laws of mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Great Spirit as the multi-universe exists in perfect harmony, love, creation, and order by virtue of these laws made in existence with us, for us, and within us as we are within it. It is done.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining us on the Promethean. I've got with me Inge Blei and Marieta Weemen from the Golden Voyage, the Gouden Reis, and myself, Aurora, from the Promethean. So I say thank you very much. And we've obviously got a lot that we would like to share with everyone who's watching us. And this is obviously pure, undiluted truth coming through right now. So thank you. So guys, please feel free to chime in as you wish and what is coming to you. So yeah, please, over to you. Inge, you were saying something.
Yes, and I was reviewing when I heard from Marieta that you guys would be opening up 2021. I said, oh, wonderful. This is so good. And I quickly reviewed the years 2017, 18, what they were about. 2019, it became more clear. Preparation for 2020. 2020, many chances came to start paying attention. 2021 is really the year that the decision should have been made, at least to look and try to take another point, not even point of view, but step into another reference point so you can see what is from a completely different perspective, completely different feeling, so to speak. It's it's going to be an amazing year as far as opportunities for expansion of your consciousness. However, it's also likely to be tough. Still, we do not like change. Human beings do not like change. I don't like change, even though I know this is part of stepping into the new, where there are new possibilities for actually everyone being able to experience the beautiful sides of consciousness instead of a handful select people enjoying life and enjoying the fruits of the trees of Mother Earth, that there will be more opportunities to have the experiences through humanity. So that's what I'm observing also. I know that there are several people present in what I call translation, information that some people call them aliens, some people say angels, some people say masters. I just call departments. I call everything departments in the hopes of not offending anyone, but being clear that not all energies that are out there are the same. They're not the same, just like people, not all people are the same. There is a need for understanding on their side because humanity has been functioning very illogically, not practical, destroying that which they depend on to survive. So if you're looking from very far from Earth, you will see that humanity can actually be experienced as a undesirable element. So there have been people who are trying to get the communication lines and also the process of human beings, their collective consciousness in the layer of Earth. But it's also important that human beings have a greater acceptance and understanding of what these energies are about, because then they can start receiving. It's one thing to have somebody come and say, oh, this message came from the universe or the omniverse, blah, 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 blah. And the person accepting out of trust, or the public accepting out of trust of that person, that's a very different than the people themselves being able to experience. What is that communication? What is that life? And what are beings from that are not bound by Earth for survival? What are they seeing? So I myself, I've been debating because I haven't done that before, but I want to try to do a meditation for people I know that are kind of steady and are not looking for the wow effect or for entertainment. I'm going to try to create a meditation where we go up and take the position, and I've mentioned this before, observing themselves in the sense of humanity. 2021, the decisions that should have been already made in 19 and 20 are going to be very useful. If decisions and clarity hasn't come to people yet, then there's still time, there's always hope, but then be aware and try to be as flexible as you can possibly be. Use discretion, look beyond mainstream media. Tap into that inner knowing, beyond subconscious, go deeper, go into the unconscious. I heard one doctor speak, he said innate. It's not even just the cellular level and the codes in the cellular wall. It is what makes it possible for a cell to be. Go there. There are many tools, but the most important part is don't accept as truth everything you hear or see. Look at it as it relates to you. How do you feel about it? Don't get paranoid, because that creates fear. And that is, we don't want fear. Just stay sober. Look, how do the facts as they are represented feel? Is it a fit for you? Is it not a fit? Does it raise questions? Take the time, if you have access to internet, take the time to read a little bit. Even with my eyes really bothering me, I try to read. And if I can't read, then I listen to videos that people, and then I look for details, small details. So you could have like 3 minutes of really good truth, and all of a sudden you find yourself being directed in a direction where you cannot expand on that truth. At that point, let it go. You can learn from every message, even if that message isn't what you will consider as part of your truth. So stay open. Don't necessarily stay open in a way that you accept everything, but at least stay open to hearing new things, even if they feel uncomfortable. It's important. It's important for you to look up your own boundaries to, regarding truth, the condition, not only of your own personal self, but of your family or of your neighborhood, and expand, expand, expand. And there will be, at least I'm hoping and wishing and asking for, more and more people who will talk about altered states and talk about having another function as far as meditation, that meditation actually teaches you how to be open and enter an altered state while still remaining conscious of regular everyday life. We're not trying to leave everyday life. We're trying to expand consciousness. That means instead of sitting down, going into a meditation and traveling to the cosmos, you want to carry that consciousness from here all the way out there, so that you're aware of every step. That way you're not leaving gaps. That way you're truly expanding instead of just traveling. That makes it more safe. It also will help eventually in translation, which will help in understanding what is happening, how it's happening, and how it all, came to be and will be.
Well, Marieta?
I think I went into a lot of details. Sorry, Aurora.
I think you created a lovely platform or foundation for us to actually build on now, which I think is
Yes.
really what we're going to be doing. We needed someone to put down a foundation. So I think you've echoed us here, our thoughts. So that's probably what. But thank you. Marieta, what would you like to carry on building on the walls of the platform now? Because we're building a lovely house.
Yeah, it was. Yes, thank you, Inge, for that wonderful
Thank you.
information already. It's a total picture of what's necessary to be done by humankind to be more aware of everything that's happening. And like you said, like question everything. Be like, for me, I try be like a toddler. A toddler always asks the mother and the father, why is this? Why is that? Why are they saying things? Why are they saying this is the truth? Or why one day why are they want to do something or don't do something? Or why are we in a lockdown, or why do we have to wear the masks? And not only because what they say, but what's behind it. Why? What's? Is there a second reason, or a more deeper reason, or is there a hidden agenda? And it's not like it's always there, but try to question. Try to question everything. Look for yourself for what's the reason. Is it something that's resonating with me, or is it something that that gives me a unhealthy feeling or a creepy feeling? Be aware of yourself or your own feelings, or of your own signs that your body is giving you. We all have those antennas for the information, so we can all receive the information, and we all have the intuition to recognize if it's something that's something for us or something for somebody else. Also, feelings we have, feelings like fear or anxiety or sadness that's going around a lot. A lot of times it's not your own feelings you feel, but the feelings of humanity, of the collective, of the earth, that's the all people, every human being that's now in conflict with what was before and what's now. So that's also something you can dive into and discover things about yourself and about being a human that you didn't discover before, and that's really nice to do.
So now we've basically observed. I know that you ladies have explained the foundation and the energy that has transpired over the last 2 years, which is 19 and 20, as very important for us to have had to make a decision already. Although if you ask me, I would have said it should have been done the day you were born, but that's my opinion. So what I've found from my side, from my observation, from where I am, I've now seen from the last time we spoke about the convergence coming, everything coming together and creating the bridge between the self as well as then from your perspective, what you said, Inge, where you are now able to tap into all the parts of the cell, the innate cell building itself, the intention, and then creation and all of the rest follows. Now, my observation is, from what I've experienced and seen, is that there has been a disclosure taking place. So I know that this is like the biggest buzzword ever. People think it's alien disclosure. People think it's whatever kind of disclosure. It's not actually. The disclosure that we're talking about is the disclosure of truth from all perspectives, like what you said, Marieta, from every perspective, and then having the awareness as a child to be in wonder and in marvel of the experiences, right? So in this, now we see who they are, they see who we are, we see that I'd like to know, well, let me put it this way. I see what they think they know of us, and I am seeing what we know of them. We know of them and what they think they know of us. The convergence is now opening two passages of thoughts from both sides looking at the same coin or the same arena, right? And it is that difference, this is very lateral, I suppose, but it is that difference in the perception that is creating perhaps the friction or the affliction or the judgment that is coming from them, that's keeping the machine still it's like does this make sense? I mean, I've just I've taken you guys with me, and we've jumped so far down into another reality. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's
Oh, go ahead, Marieta.
sorry. Yeah, I was thinking about how life is all the time getting a new opportunity to learn. Like in your own life, in my own life, I get an obstacle to learn about. And when I don't learn about it, the next obstacle is bigger. And the next obstacle is bigger and bigger and bigger until I can't ignore it anymore and I have to learn about it. And like some kind of partner I attracted. And then I attracted the same and the same and the same until I said, oh, I don't want that kind of partner. I want a different kind. And then I get a different kind. And that's also like in humanity, like we are in some kind of war. There are no guns, there are no bullets, there are no bombs, but we are in some kind of war. And in the past we had wars and we didn't learn about it. Somebody was saying, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that and this and this and this. But there was always a hidden agenda. And now there are also hidden agendas. And now it's for humankind to learn about it and to say, okay, I'm not accepting what you are saying. Not this truth, not that truth, not that truth. I am going to investigate for myself. What do I want? And I think that's the biggest lesson on humanity ever happened, is happening now.
That's good. Inge, you were saying, can you beat that one?
No, I see that, I feel it, and I tend to, I visit that part. I have another area what I focus on, and I think it has to do with what I call specialty, or where I happen to be good in, and that is once we start expanding the thought of what is self, what is I, we come to realize that we are once again part of a greater thing. And then I'm going to try to make a comparison where I really connect with what Marieta was saying. It sounds kind of confusing even as I think it. It's the heart doesn't say, oh, I think I've decided I'm going to be a kidney or a liver. Yet each organ is absolutely important. We are part of that same body. That's simplifying in one human body. But we, in fact, are part of a greater body. I really don't go too much to outer space at first, but we are a part of our environment. And when we then recognize the I first needs to fade away, that's ego identity, so that we then are open to experiencing the value of something that we perceive to be outside of ourselves. Then when that happens, we then can go back to saying, oh, I am meant to be a kidney. And that's okay. But all our training from when you're born, even before you're born, people have all kinds of ideas. Oh yes, when my child is born, it's going to be a doctor or an astronaut or a nurse or a teacher. We are trained to limit our thoughts about identity. Once that happens, the ego protects it and doesn't want any other information. It sounds like I'm moving away, but somehow for me, it connects to what Marieta said. And that's where I live in those details, first allow the I to fade away, not because it's not important, but release that pressure from the ego. Then accept that you're part of a bigger system. Then go back to what you are. Because until you are secure enough with yourself to release the identity, you will keep fighting, this is me. When you are more than your identity, you are more than your experiences, you are more than flesh and blood, much, much more. But if you allow your ego and identity to protect you in that manner, it's meant for protection, but at the same time, it limits. And therefore, it also limits how you can experience. You know, there's communication, but it's also experiencing another energy form. We have a certain energy form that is appropriate for biological bodies, but there are energy forms that are just as valuable, have just as many experiences. They're just, in our perception, are different. So once you say, oh, it's one whole creation, then you can accept having respect and appreciation for everything that is. Still, you keep filters on. Only accept what you feel comfortable with. Otherwise, you're going to get out of balance. And we want to live in the here and now, because in the here and now, that's where all the changes have to happen. Not out there, not next year. It has to happen here in the here and now. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's usually where I stay with bringing information. Although sometimes it sounds even more complicated to me than it needs to be.
Well, I think
But there are so many details that I do like to share those.
yeah, well, that's probably where we are. The three of us, our conversation as it is right now, is definitely on a level that we are much more comfortable with to explain. To add to what you have both said, the eye of the, okay, put it like this, it is the dismantling of the identification of the egoic concept with regards to its reality, their realities, which they have created. So in reality, our reality, as in the conscious reality that we are existing in here and now, we are observing the fall, which is quite bizarre, since we were led to believe that we fell as fallen angels, that in actual fact is really revealing to us as we are perceiving them that they are falling as well. And in actual fact, they then have to slowly let go of their identification with their constructs, archontic constructs, or egregores, which are systems that are given spirited life, like statues that they pray to, that they put souls or spirits in, which is what they do, that those things are also dismantling. And in that process, the more we see them, it's like the king who was naked, who thought he had it's like the what's that story? This is what we're seeing. We're seeing the naked king.
The new clothes of the king.
Yes, the emperor's, yes, that's it. I think this is what we're seeing right now. So it's extremely embarrassing for them to see that they are actually naked, and that they were really in actual fact part of the heart, and
Maybe it's not embarrassing.
I'd like to believe that the way that they need to be shown something is perhaps what they is shaming. This is probably really bad for me to say that, but what did they do with us? I mean,
yeah, but the naked truth.
Yeah.
So
So
we have to show the naked truth.
this is why we're
We have
here.
to be firm and we have to show it.
This
So
is what, and this is why we are going into a deeper level in terms of what we have discussed a little while ago about who we are, what we are, in what way are we seeing ourselves, what do we need to let go of before we can see who we really are, and how do we go forward? What are your thoughts on this? Now that we've built the foundation of the house, we've built some walls, how do we go forward from this? With what do we take with us going into these next two stages, which is 21 and 22?
I'm going to go back to what Marieta said. Strong believer in there is that the best way, there are many ways. Some take longer, some are shorter, but the best way is to present yourself to yourself as a child, very inquisitive. There's no reason to be cruel or to be mean or to fight or to prepare for war because you feel safe. That's the first stage. At the same time, you need to develop a level of awareness and consciousness that it's just a state. Because the moment you switch and you're back into your intellect, into your mind, you'll say, oh, well, that was a good feeling. And you won't remember why it was a good feeling. You say, oh, I was childlike. No, everything you do, as much as possible, be aware and conscious of it, whether it's doing the laundry or taking a walk or saying, you know, I need extra sleep tomorrow, so I'm going to go to bed an hour early. Be aware of it. Why are you doing it? The handlings and what you do, most of them during a phase when you're still growing and expanding are a result of teaching, training, programming that you have established for yourself because that's what you learned. Okay, I get up at 6 o'clock. By 5 after 6, the coffee pot is going. So I need 2 cups of coffee before I can function. Boy, I'm letting you into my private life.
Well.
So that becomes a program. You do it automatically and you no longer have to think about that. The more that you become aware, the more you realize that a big majority of what you do, which then translates into what you think you are, a teacher, a housewife, a mother, is based on external input. Then you can then slowly go inside. And I always advise, leave judgment at the door. Because otherwise you'll say, ew, I don't really like that part of me. So I'll just pretend it's not there. Well, if you pretend or don't see something, you can't work on it. You cannot expect to experience the complete truth outside of you if you're not even willing to experience the complete truth inside of you, because you are a part, an integral part of the entire one. So, oh, I lost track. I don't know what I was saying.
I don't think we could lose track. I think we're going as we're being guided. I mean, in the beginning of our conversation, Inge, you said, doors open. Whoever needs to come through is coming through. So we're literally are allowing ourselves to honor them as well. Not so?
Yes.
I can feel the presence here very strongly.
Yes. I'm getting goosebumps.
Right?
I'm being asked to share something with you, ladies. And it is related to our topic. Is that okay?
Yes,
Because if it doesn't fit, okay, I'll do my best. Recently, I've been receiving callings. By callings, I mean that I'm asked to pay attention, and if someone asks for my help, as far it has to do with communication and the capacity to step in and to step out. So what they have shown me is that there are still some rough edges to communication around us, not necessarily human communication, but the way we're perceived by other energies. So what some of us are working on is to bring clarification. The stumbling block is much of what goes on in up there, I'll just call it up there, it's not up there, it's all around us, is based on logic and practical. If something brings damage, stop it.
Yes.
So then the explanation of that sometimes we handle as human beings not to be purposely damaging, but we think it's actually a good thing, then discover it's not a good thing. You know, like Monsanto. We thought it was a good thing. Turned out it was a very bad thing. So the understanding regarding lack of understanding here and us regarding their lack of understanding, it becomes then a two-way communication line. And that is very important. Now there is still feelings of, well, they better understand. I had a vision. There was someone in a cave, and it was during a meditation that not I was giving, someone else was giving, and this person lit a fire to create a little light. People entered the cave, and this person said, I created this light. The greater light is out there. So nobody wanted to go. They all wanted to stay with that little light. A being came and said, well, we'll fix this. We'll just douse the light. Then when they get cold and it's dark, they'll actually go outside. I said, but that's a transgression of freedom of choice. They won't understand. They will have fear. People who have fear do things that are not good, even in their own bodies. So the decision was no. Then what happened is the stars came in, attached themselves to the roof of this cave, and crystallized, giving light, giving time for the beings that came to the cave to have an understanding, to feel safe again. And so then slowly go outside. So there is a difference of opinion, you might say, in how to move humanity along. Both sides, there are multiple, but let's just stay simple. Both sides want to help the expansion of our consciousness. One has a softer way and one has a, let's just do this. Okay? Lacking empathy for all those that will get lost in the dark. So empathy is also being brought to the other energies to temper and a form. It's not exactly empathy as how we experience it, but the explanation of empathy, the explanation of patience. So it's sort of like a university professor going back and teaching, not kindergarten, because kindergartners are totally great. But you know, when they start disagreeing is second and third grade, that's what's happening. Luckily, it appears to be working, and more people are willing to dedicate their time to facilitate that stream, to support that stream that gives information both ways. I think this probably is very important because I'm being asked to share this here. Also a little bit about people, and people can do their own research. Many people have mentioned councils. There are councils. The problem is a lot of people think that they are communicating with the council. That is not the construct. And you are once again limiting yourself because you're saying, oh, I'm special because I'm part of a particular council. What I've been told is the councils are there so to help people take steps to understand what it's really about. It's a cooperation of life with capital L. And some of the old ways are not really effective anymore. So it's still beautiful to have the respect of rituals, etc. But it's being verlangd. Maybe Marieta desired
Fire.
that we move from looking up to looking forward. And it is desired that we move forward and expand. So it's not a bad thing, but that is not what they're calling for people to start doing, to experience what
I
they
think
really are.
they are trying to make us, the human beings, look at a different way at the same thing. So we have a problem, we always solve the problem this way. And now we have to go and look to solve the same problem at a different way. So then we learn to look at things differently. So we can start just in ourselves, with ourselves, in our own environment, just do the small things. Look at your problem and think, okay, I always did it some way to solve it. But now I'm not going to do it like I always did, and now I'm going to do it a different way. I have to figure that out, what the best way is then, but I won't do it like I used to do it. And then something is going to change, because then you are allowing yourself to look at things differently. And that's the message I get from above or whatever, from somebody. And that's like, look at it at a different way. Don't say I did it wrong, a wrong way. It was wrong. I did it like I did it before. But no, just that was a good way. And now I'm going to go a different way. Not better, not worse, just different. And I think when we go at different things, it make it different. That's a better than there's no conflict. Otherwise we create conflict in ourselves, because we are saying like I did always everything wrong, or I was stupid, or whatever. I meant it myself stupid, so that everything it was okay and will be okay. But we have to change. It has to change to make the change. We have to change ourselves. I think that's the message.
I feel, given that there's quite a lot of them who have a lot to say, obviously, that to try and interpret what they're trying to say is this, from the ones that are here, that they're saying that when you pass on, when you leave your physical life form, when you let go of your ship, that you step out of the identification of what you have once identified yourself with as a humanoid or human form. You step out of that when you pass on, and you are then facing the self in a magnitude of layers of frequencies that you have experienced. And these frequencies are related to experiences, choices, free will. All of that falls under the umbrella of free will. And I feel that why it's so important to change from to take on with what you are both saying, they're saying, or my interpretation of what they're saying is that to remove the identification process of the constructed environment is beneficial, because all constructed environments is transient. It is always transient. We are transient beings. And why there is this shakeup is with regards to perhaps they needed to shake things up. Perhaps they needed to have their ego chance. Perhaps they needed to have the first chance to throw out their dice on the table, because all change influences your choices forward. Adaptability, transition, transient. We are meant to be that, because if we don't learn to transition now or to become transient now, when we leave, because this here is not the ultimate destination or journey. This is not the end all and be all. What is ultimate is infinite consciousness. It is eternal and infinite. And based on that connection, that is why we are learning it this way, from what I can see. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And now
The thing is, people are very visual.
Yeah.
In this linear world. They want to have a form so they can relate to it. And so perhaps taking a preparatory step is, for now, I accept form. I will just accept that this form won't always be. And for many people, it's very difficult, because then they try to visualize a different form and it's still form. So they're still trying to determine, oh, they want to be a shining star, or they want to be a moon, or they want to be a butterfly. They are not, that is a clear sign that they haven't moved away yet from the personal. And in personal, non-personal, there are also many layers. It's very important. There is time. And you are right. You mentioned your decision should be when you're born, but I believe it's even before. But I want to stretch it out and extend it to the body of humanity. There are so many people who are just ready. They're in front of the door for a greater understanding and a connection with consciousness that, at least me, I feel called to make myself available for as long as I can, in my way. I have grown a bit, that I no longer try to fit in the way people want me to fit in. I've tried all those, but I have come to believe that what I have to offer, that's what I will offer, because that's how I was made. True to myself, I make myself available for this, even if I don't understand it. There's times when I say, wow, have I really lost my marbles? Who am I that they're going to bring me this message and that message? And you see, but even that acceptance that you are important and you are special, but recognize, where are you important and what is your specialty? Because that's where you're needed. Not for the title, not for the prestige. That's all the material world. It is needed for life on earth, but also out there, and for your own growth. So
if we,
yeah, that's what I'm going to do with this move, I think.
I think if we could give the audience, our little tribes that we're sharing our information with, our group of people, our family, what is it that we can take with us before we wrap up? Would you like to start? Inge? Marieta?
Know yourself.
Marieta?
Okay, that was really short. Yeah, that's really important. Yeah, for me, it's more like observe and question. I think that's about yourself, about everything.
So I think that we've shared a lot of our insight and information with everyone right now. We will definitely do the next part on this chapter 2 of 2021 in terms of the self, and then we will address it again, but we will go into further detail as we are being guided. And I thank you, ladies, very much for being part of the Promethean chat. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and we will definitely catch up and have another part. Say part 3, because the first one was convergence. Now it's the I, and the second one will be whatever we're being guided with. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you for facilitating. Yeah, it's wonderful. Thanks for letting me be part of this.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye bye.